Flex on the less. Live in the hills, but I still get a spread. Started with a live, but I still reinvest it. Fear how I feel, then you feel like a blessing. I just want the lesson, I just want protection. I'm up and I'm down, but the sound like progression. Farmer never plans if he waits for perfection. Finger to the down, hold it.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I got your Watchlist coming into May 27, 2021, and the stock market is getting more inflation data tomorrow. And I got 3 stacks that I'm looking at coming into tomorrow, but today was a really boring day. It was very, very slow. It seemed like it was kind of exciting in the morning, but then it really slowed down, and a lot of people pointed this out today. The volumes were very, very low. So even though yesterday was pretty low, and you got a little boost with after hours today, but the during market hours trading, this was probably one of the lowest market volume days of the year. Yesterday, you saw something similar, but it was more spread out across options, equities, and all that. But even then on the equity front here today, it was a very, very slow day in terms of volume. Now you saw the meme stocks go crazy. Tech was the leader with the NASDAQ closing up 0.6 and the Dow barely closing green, but now it seems like the market was waiting for tomorrow and Friday. Now tomorrow, you're going to get a lot of economic data points, but one key one to watch with inflation is going to be the PCE. So there's CPI and core CPI. CPI is the consumer price index, but now tomorrow, one of the big ones we're getting is going to be the core PCE, and that is personal consumption expenditures, and that's pretty much giving you an idea of prices, not including energy and food, but now relating it to the GDP, and then you're also going to get the next GDP estimates tomorrow. So it's going to be an interesting day. Friday is still going to be a wild card, but we still got a lot that we need to look at. So I got the plays for you. I got the keys, everything that happened today and the plays that we made, and then what we have for tomorrow. So let us not delay. You guys know what you need to do. Drop your thumbs up on the video. Make sure you're subscribed. And if you don't know, we are live Monday through Friday, 30 minutes for open. It's the first link in the description, and it is pinned in the comments. We better see you there in the morning. It's free 99. It costs you nothing to join. YouTube.com/the-stock-market. You can post the plays, see the plays, watch the watchlist come to life, and yes, if you just found out that your online bestie does not go by his real name and coconut water is an acceptable first name for you, then yeah, we're the place to be. And the most important thing you need to do, post or watch below. Let us know what you're looking at. Got any plays, comments, remixes, anything, post them below and source that info. Shout out to Chad, baby. So right off the bat, small caps was the story of the day. You really did not get any volume, and these were the ones to move in. There wasn't that much news. We got random news from Apple, and there was a couple different headlines that seemed like it would be good. However, there really wasn't much. There was a bond auction, and there is everything we saw last week, and a little bit this morning you did hear from, I believe, either Australia or somewhere out in Asia. One of their central bankers was talking along the lines of the inflation isn't that bad and that it's not too much to worry about. Again, kind of what we've seen all this week from either central banks or even bigger countries. This notion that inflation really isn't too bad, that has been coming out a lot, and that's what we'll need to talk about here a little bit. But tomorrow and Friday is going to be the key, and kind of what we saw with the meme stocks running up, the volume staying low today. You have one inflation indicator in GDP tomorrow, and then on Friday, it is going to be after hours. You're going to get the budget, but it seems like the market is kind of anticipating that. But don't forget what we saw last week. You saw a really, really strong red on the NASDAQ and SPY. The Dow wasn't, and pretty much since there, we haven't made too much moves, even though we've kind of been melting up. So as far as all of the data tomorrow, you're going to get GDP estimates, the jobless claims, and continued jobless claims. So again, this is still going to be important because you know what the Fed is looking at. You're going to get the core PCE, but now tying all of this together, most likely it is not going to move things too much. It seems as if a lot of investors have kind of came to terms with the current inflation situation. Although it seems like there's a lot of data points, there's a lot of confusing stuff with it. You don't know if it's because supply chains, wages, stimulus, all these different reasons that could be transitory. It just seems like the market is like, okay, well, it's not good, but it might be better to just stay here where we're at, if anything. Or if you haven't noticed how Wall Street works, usually bad news comes out, everybody's like repeating, they're like inflation, 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 inflation. Everyone keeps talking about it. Stocks may move for a little bit, but as long as it doesn't really fully panic, everything kind of goes back to normal and the market gets adjusted to the new temperature more or less. Nonetheless, though, this is what is going to make tomorrow so important, because if any data does come out and it has the ability to surprise, again, just like we saw with the CPI back a month ago, anything statistically significant, anything way off from the estimates, that is going to tell you something about the situation, especially now that estimates had time to adjust since the last month or so. So I'm going to take a lot of the data with a grain of salt, but if I do get a big surprise, that is going to be key. Now, as far as the market and setting up for tomorrow, you really got to pay attention to what's moving right now. You are getting a lot of widening. Tech closed really strong today. The Dow was pretty much barely green. However, you got to watch wide mix of different names, and depending on the news today, even Amazon came out, said they're going to have in-store pharmacies, and that clapped CVS, Walgreens, all of that, some of those value stocks. So you had a very interesting mix today, and now as we move forward to the rest of the week, and depending on what the data could do tomorrow, I would pay really good attention to the names that are holding up, the names that are outpacing, even if the market's doing good. You saw a lot of 8%er moves, and they weren't all small cap stocks. However, you did see a lot of small caps run today, but now also pay attention to the companies that are outpacing on the downside, and then just the companies that are pretty much holding up with the market and doing what the market's doing. But this is that widening effect. I know you guys heard us talk about rotation. That was the beginning of the year. You even heard us say it earlier. This is going to be one of those things where the widening, it takes a long time. You could talk about it, you'll see little glimpses of it, and then eventually when it's all said and done, you'll be like, oh wow, that makes a lot of sense. So pay attention to that, because you are getting a lot of that now. We've kind of been in the midst of it, but I don't think it's finished, and I think we're kind of really in the middle of it, which is another reason why the bonds and the dollar are so important, because you see how they're moving. You're seeing some names do really good, some names do really bad, and then some just moving with the market in general. So the real key is going to be spotting momentum, seeing what the market is going to be sensitive for after all of this data coming into the end of the week. And then if we do get a big dollar or bond move, then your work is going to be cut out for you. So I hope you're ready, but that is pretty much it. So let us get into the plays. So right off the bat, I got 4 different plays that I want to look at tomorrow, but the first one a little bit surprising and kind of based off of what I'm saying with the widening and what you've been seeing here today, but Overstock. This is going to be the e-com crypto play. We have this in the long term. I still have those old leaps and they've came back up, but reason why I liked it today, this was one of those 8-9% movers. It was up a lot today, but now it's kind of back at that breakout level, but now this time it doesn't have the same hype or kind of same volatility that got it back to this price. So if you guys remember last time we were playing Overstock, we got it near the Coinbase IPO. It had a lot of that hype, and then you had the earnings and everything, and then it shot up. It hit almost $90 at one point. It held up for a little bit, market got clapped, and then now it's slowly starting to come up. And this is what I'm saying, instead of making this move in like 2 or 3 days, remember they did have a very, very good earnings. So this was like the crypto Coinbase, this was their earnings, but now they're back up here. It's kind of like a delayed continuation. Again, that earnings was killer. So this is one of those key breakout levels that I'm talking about here, because pretty much anytime over 100 now, I think you'll start to get a lot more demand and people will get a little bit more excited, but it didn't make the move on excitement. So you can see here some multi-year high. This is a key breakout point, so I like it. I'm still holding, but I want to watch it tomorrow, because now if you guys are watching how we've been trading Roblox, this might offer those same opportunities. We get the shares, we have some longer term options on there, or in Roblox's case, we just had a lot more shares, so we might be able to play this on the in-between as it starts moving up or down, because this one is volatile. You've seen it trade like Roblox, so I really like that play. I'm going to be watching that coming into the end of the week, and especially if it gets some of that momentum, so watch them. The next play, Truecar. This is an old one, and now I also have my shares in this one, and yes, dreams do come true, ladies and gentlemen, but I really like it now just because it's back to that yearly breakout level. We've been kind of faked out on this. This stock doesn't really do much, but I don't know if it's because of the small caps, the cheap stuff, but now it's back to a yearly breakout level, a multi-year breakout level, and I believe that they did a buyback. I think it was yesterday. I know they did one, but I don't know if it was yesterday or 2 days ago, so you could kind of see the volume there. It's been breaking out, but this is what I'm talking about here. Last time they were ever at this price was about 2019. It hasn't been able to get over here, so if it does and you get a little bit of hype in some of those cheap names, it might start to run up, so we will see how that one plays out. But I have a lot of shares. If you've been watching me on AMC and anything today, or even Roblox, any of these plays, if I have good share positions, we've been talking about how shares have kind of been really good here. I will definitely be looking at the premiums to see what sort of opportunities we have if we want to sell covered calls. So that's going to be the second play. The third play, Apple. I think this one might start to get really attractive here, or the best thing I like about it is that I just think FANG is most likely going to be a leader. Big name tech and the people who have done very, very good and already have big market share. I'm betting that these are going to be some of the better growth companies to hold during inflation, but now too, they also had this crypto news saying that they're looking for developers. It kind of had a pop, crypto even pop, but then it all came back down. So gonna be watching them, but even the level that they're at in general, if you look at Apple on the daily, you could kind of see that they really just haven't moved much. So it has a lot of room to go. It's honestly been a lot more stable. It's kind of crazy to think about. This is the beginning of the year till now, and Apple is more stable than the United States dollar, which is fascinating, and even bonds. But keep your eye out on that. I'm going to be watching them. And then finally, for the fourth play, Nvidia, those plays were break even, the ones that I had, they reported today. They did good, had good demand and everything like that. And now don't forget the split. I think a lot of people have, or I guess it's kind of having less of a reaction, or maybe earnings was getting in the way. But if the continuation is going to be there tomorrow, just don't forget how powerful those could be and how they have been. And that is what I'm going to be looking for on that one. So those are going to be the main plays. As far as everything else, watch Apple, watch AMC. I looked at this today. A lot of people asked what I wanted to do, and I was looking at the covered calls, and honestly, it was crazy. Like, I can't, man, this thing has 112,000 in volume. I remember watching it at 20,000 a day, and it was insane because you were really just getting big orders. This is, I'm pretty sure, one buyer at various levels. There's a lot of demand and hype, but you can see here, all it did was come down today. They had a lot of hype, and I was saying maybe I could sell these 40s. It's only 23 days of time for $100. It's a pretty decent investment, but I have those 300 shares. I'm at a win-win, and pretty much what I'm banking on from here is tomorrow, based on all this call volume demand, I'm hoping that they're going to add more strikes to the chain. So if we could wake up and they start going out to 50, 60, or even if I go more time and I could get a higher strike price, that's what I want to do. Some people ask why didn't it do it, even though I could pretty much guarantee a 10x. You know, I bought this stock at like $4.95. So if I sell a 40, that's 1,000% investment on the shares. However, my cost basis is so low, they're not going to expire. It's shares. There's all this momentum. If I'm going to do a covered call, I want to make sure I'm agreeing to sell at a price where it's just like I win without a doubt. I win at 1,000% still, and it would be a good gain, but I feel like I could do a little bit better. Or at the same time, if you want me to part with my shares, you're going to have to offer me like 60, 70 a share. You know what I'm saying? So keep your eye out for that one, though. I think it's still in an awesome point, and we really want to see if it starts to play out kind of like we saw at the beginning of the year. Remember, you had the first GameStop fiasco. Market got the balance, got a little coexisting, and then it all returned again. So you could see it reflected in the chart here. So the real difference is you're not seeing the market do anything while they are actually moving this time. So I'm still going to be watching all those. I think those are going to be important. Watch Roblox. They killed it this morning, and they hit that 94 level. Again, I said 93 or like 92 to 93 is what I was expecting. And I said if it could go past there, that would be really good. But what I noticed this morning are 100 contracts. Those were down, or they were only up 18% when they were closed up like 150 or 120 the day before. But then Roblox really started to move in the morning after hours. You can't really see it. So down here, the contracts weren't worth a lot. And then it started to shoot up. And then I said, well, damn, I got about 200%, 250 on those contracts. I decided to sell out the remaining half because we still have those shares. So you can see here at the play, I sold these out at 125. We bought them for about 40 cents, but I sold it at 7-11. So about 40 minutes into the market, it was like right before here. And then it had its final rip. It was at $92, and then it went to 94, and then it kind of stalled out and came down. And now some of you may have asked why, because that contract expires on Friday. Today is Wednesday. Even in the morning, based on the price it was going for, it was pretty much expecting to break even barely above 100. Even at that price that I sold it at like 125, you are essentially assuming that by break even by Friday, if the stock ended up at 101.25, that's what I would need to break even on that contract, or at least $40 in the money. So you have to think about it. The closer you get to expiration, you better be in the money, or that contract is going to flip-flop a lot. So if you come back to the option itself, you can see why this was a really good decision here, because now, end of the day, I sold this for $125 a pop. I had 4 or 5 of them, got like $500-600 off of that, but you can see here now, all 5 of those contracts are worth $125 now collectively. So even though it kept going up, you notice here, I would have gotten what, an extra 25 cents, an extra $100. So I don't even need to actually even kick myself. It's like, oh, I sold out and it ripped. But when it comes to options, you got to know what you're buying. That was still out of the money, and that would still have a break even. So usually on Wednesday or even a Thursday, if you notice a contract gets really, really hyped and the stock moves really fast, but it's about to expire on Friday, chances are you'll probably get more money on that day than expiration, because even if Roblox goes to 100 tomorrow, you will see how that changes the contract, because now coming into the close, these contracts, what, $1 or $2 out of the money, they're going for the same price I was able to sell 100 for this morning. So we still got the shares. Some people talked about some lawsuit stuff and all that, but I think Roblox is going to be good. If not, we're just going to get a lot of trading opportunities on this stock, and overall our shares are doing good. We made free shares on that one play, the one I just showed you. Not only did we take the profits, but remember, we already got to make some of those free last last week. So this was a cool instance where we made them free and we maximized the profit on the contract, and now we just took all the profit and now we got no more risk. So keep your eye out for them. Watch Nvidia, like I said, that's going to be an interesting one, and I just want to see if it has the ability to have the continuation. This is actually going to end up working in our favor when it does a move like this, because that means all the premiums are going to get clapped. If more of the move happens tomorrow, that is going to be continuation heaven. Watch Oracle. They did another weird after hours thing. We got that play from yesterday, and the surprising part about this play, it was actually up 10%. Remember, I didn't think this was a good play, so kind of surprising that it's holding up, especially not having that much time. So we will see how that one plays out. I would keep a tentative eye on that one. So watch them. Watch UAL. Airlines in general, like I said, they did strong today, and you can see it. Transports, I believe, did good here too. So I want to see how this plays out. Maybe there's going to be some other news or travel news, anything like that. That'll be key. Watch Walgreens. They got clapped today. I don't know if this will be a big drop again. You kind of saw Altria and AT&T, because if anything, these stocks are in really, really high demand right now. If anything, Walgreens may even just be a good pickup if it does drop a lot off this news and then kind of level out like Altria did, but they're dropping off of the news of Amazon trying to get into physical pharmacies. So that one's very interesting. Going to be watching them. Watch BlackBerry. They're moving up after hours, and I brought it up today. Should have brought it up yesterday here, but I feel like this is kind of one of the meme stocks that didn't get love, so I want to just see how that one plays out. Watch them. Watch Ford, and this one is absolutely killer. I'm even shocked. If you were on the watch list the other day, you saw I got those shares, got 500 at like 12.30, but for it to go up this fast on a stock like Ford, that's crazy. The candles are getting bigger. You're getting back-to-back some of the highest volume you've really ever seen on this stock. Again, this is just the 3-year chart, but I'm pretty sure if I pull it back 5 years, even 10 or 20, this is some of your highest volume in a really, really long time. So it's looking really good right now, and you could even see, you pull it all the way across here, this $14 level is actually going to be really key, and this is without Ford offering a dividend, which is surprising because that 20-year chart, they all had a dividend. Although the CEO of Ford said a few months ago that they don't have plans and they'll communicate it, if they do return that dividend, that would probably drive this thing home, but I want to watch them. They definitely outpaced everything in the auto industry today, so watch them. Watch Snowflake, and this one I think is going to be a good continuation. They missed on earnings, had good guidance though, but this is a volatile stock and it has a lot of eyes on it. So even at this level, I think it's going to move pretty interesting, and it might free it up a little bit here to get a continuation play. So watch them. And then GameStop in general, just use these stocks as a general gauge. And kind of what you saw today, though, they were able to coexist. I mean, look at GameStop look like the SPY. That's crazy. And finally, coming in a good old TLT, baby, we got a little bit of what we were looking for here. Again, I said 141. I might have to start reconsidering, and a lot of you honestly brought up a lot of good arguments against this, and I'm open to a lot of challenges on this play. I'm even thinking pretty much ways that this could even go wrong here, and there's a lot of different factors. So although a bond rally would kind of be discouraging here and make me double guess it, a lot of what we've been seeing is still playing out. All the currencies are at a level. You're even starting to see the China stock market move, but now the real question is, do we start to see this play out? But realistically, it's kind of looking more like this, but the difference is it didn't come back to the highs like last time. So now a lot of you saw today, TLT finally dropped, and now when it dropped, it really did kind of make a bigger move, and then you really got to see the dollar come up, and that was confusing. I encourage you, you're going to see moves on the micro. We watch it every day, so that doesn't help, but there does not always have to be a kind of a cause or effect relationship, and this is where the moves kind of developed, and even then, you're seeing the stock market is doing its own thing. Bonds and dollars are going to move and do what they need to as well, too. Now, as far as what caused this drop today, and even what people were talking about, you had a 2-year auction, and then today I believe you had the 7-year, and both of those auctions were good but bad in a weird way. Again, typical stock market stuff, but essentially both auctions came in with a lot of demand, meaning that they came in at lower rates, but it kind of shocked the market here a little bit, because now the question is, wait a minute, why would there be such a high demand for the bonds right now? Some people would want to even say that could be signaling deflation, so that's one of my more original theories. I don't know if I quite see that just yet. However, it is just very clear that you're getting a weird level of volatility in the bonds when we're seeing all this, and now depending on what happens after the data tomorrow and then coming into the budget in next week, I'm sure we're really going to have a telling move. But overall, somebody asked, why do I say 6 weeks in general? Because I don't know when. I know what, and I'm saying if the bonds do move at this current level, or you get a wild currency swing or something that could influence the bonds, and you start hitting those ranges again, or some of these, okay, well, inflation's not that bad. Again, that's what this is showing you. This is showing you how the market is kind of came to term with it, and then you had the minutes and all of that, and we're off the lows from the minutes. But overall, if yields start to creep up again and it's not too far away from creeping up, you will start to get the market reacting a little bit. So I know what, but I just don't know when. Even with yesterday's play, I grabbed till January 2023. So my idea is get some short terms, get some long terms. I don't want to be wrong on the timing and why I'm saying 6 weeks, because usually it takes about a month or two for the moves. I mean, you could really just break this whole chart out month by month or 6 weeks at a time, and you could really just see the moves and the levels that they've done and what it leads to. So pretty much this last 6 weeks, we've kind of stalled out here. So kind of been a back-to-back. Wherever this goes, we will see. You don't need to watch it too micro, and chances are if you see something bigger in the globe happen, the bonds will reflect it. So keep that in mind and stay focused. But that is your watch list, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure hydrate, healthy, ready to go. Make sure you post your watch list. Make sure we see you there in the morning. I need the armor on. I need the helmet shining. I need you to remember, baby, attitude is the foundation. But the code loves you. I love you. I'm gonna see you in the morning. Let's go.